Hi, is everyone waiting for the career development class?
No different, Michelle. We were just talking about Michelle. Okay, and then- Yes, she said you were making her. Perfect, okay. Sure. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Perfect, thank you. Okay, good morning, everybody. Sorry for those of you that were at home. I was waiting to get this logged in, so I apologize for the delay. We have a lot to cover today, guys, in a very short period of time. I know you guys have been going over past noon, I understand, which I totally get, and we only have today until 11. And it's just a lot to share, so.
What happens after what?
The office meeting is at 11. So I would encourage you, if you're able to stay for the office meeting. We have a monthly office meeting. So if you can stay, definitely do. It's right in here. You'll see people start coming and they're gonna kick us out. You have a career development book?
Yes.
Okay, just a little bit about me, Mary Blackstone. I always like in classes, I always like to introduce myself, and then I'm gonna have each of you quickly. Your name, something that no one in the room would know about you, and how long you've been in real estate. Okay, so Mary Blackstone, I've been in real estate only 3 years. Love it, absolutely love it. I think it's the greatest thing ever. You get what you put into it. It's like Kathy said yesterday, I believe. You have to work, you have to do the business, right? You are your own boss. So kick yourself in the butt when you need to. Plan and do the work, because you're not gonna be, nobody's gonna bring things to you. You've got to work to do it, okay? I have 4 kids, I have 6 grandkids, and I have a blue eye and a green eye, so that's me. Yeah. Sherelle?
I'm Sherelle. I've been in the business for 1 year.
Okay.
And I'm one of 9, and I have a son.
Very good, very good, very good. Luna?
The business for about a month now.
Okay.
I have 2 siblings. I'm the only girl in my family.
Very good.
What?
Very good.
That's wild.
Very good.
This is boring.
Michelle?
My name's Michelle Plessage. I've been in the business a little under 2 years, so I just wanted to brush up on some skills. I'm the youngest of 3, and I love to garden.
Oh, very good. Very good. Okay.
My name's Dominique. You said things that we wouldn't guess.
Somebody in the room we wouldn't guess about
I'm the oldest of 3 girls, unfortunately.
you. So it's perfect you're in a room of
Yeah,
girls
so-
today.
Yeah, oldest
You'll
of,
fit right in.
Yeah.
yeah, oldest
Yes.
of 3, and
How long have you been licensed?
3 weeks, give or take.
3
Not
weeks.
very long
Okay.
at all.
So 3 weeks, 2 years, 1 month, and you were licensed in Georgia for you've been about a year?
About a year.
Okay, okay. So, like I said, we've got a lot to cover today in a very, very short period of time. There's some stuff that I'm not gonna cover because I feel as though like creating your own buyer's presentation, it's the flip side of creating your listing presentation, okay? So I'm not gonna spend time going over that. If you need help with doing that, reach out to your mentor, they'll help you. But it's honestly, it's gonna be the exact same thing. You're just gonna, it's not a listing presentation, it's your buyer's presentation. It's extremely important to have one. So just the flip side, okay? Who in here, you have done transactions before? Michelle, you've transactions?
Yes.
Buy and sell side both? Just you two have not yet done anything and just not in Ohio yet. Just not in Ohio yet. Okay, perfect. Okay, so everybody's got their book. Stop me if you have questions. I do tend to move along, but if you have questions, please by all means stop me and I'll be happy to answer things for you. The first few things that Dayla has reviewed and revised our career development book. So it's very, very nice to see all the updates and changes. I'm at the bottom of page 1 now, the 2021 profile of home buyers and sellers. I'm not going to read this to you guys. These are your books. Look back through them later. Due to time, we're not going to, but there are some fantastic statistics here for you. The graph that's on page 2, I thought was very interesting. And then I was looking over last night, page 3, the Midwest, how we compare, and this is based off 2021, how we compare to the other regions in the US. I thought that was very interesting. I honestly thought we would be higher in some of those categories, but still useful information to just look through. And then page 4, once again, just a very nice chart or sheet that Dayla has put together, just with some good stats, some good numbers. If you want, you can add that into your buyer's presentation. Who in here already has their buyer's presentation done? Michelle, okay. So what I'm going to say about the buyer's presentation is KW gives you all kinds of tools that you can use, right, to make your life easy, okay? By all means, you can go in there into Command and create your buyer's presentation, okay? It's very easy. Omit the pages that you feel as though you don't want or are not necessary because it is very, very long. I'm going to pass this around. This is my buyer's meeting book that I use. I'm going to pass it around. As you guys know, you've been to classes with Kathy before, and just an FYI, anytime you see her name attached to a class, be there. Don't ever miss anything she teaches, ever. Like, make sure you watch that recording. Very, very important. I'm going to pass this around. Feel free. She is not going to care. If there's something in here you'd like, take a picture of it. Obviously, take off the Kathy Cairo group. Does everybody have one? Does everybody else have one of these? She gave them to you?
Yeah.
But she can give them to you. I can give them to you. Okay, because I wanted to. You have one, Michelle?
I do.
Okay. Donna, did you get one? Okay, perfect. Did you guys already get a chance to look at this? Okay. The one thing I want to say about your buyer's presentation, it needs to be you. I think you asked did you ask the question yesterday about your buyer's presentation and your listing presentation, if you
Yeah.
had to use?
Yeah, the one from KW's.
Okay.
.KW.
Your
Or no, I'm sorry, Command.
Command, okay. Your buyer and listing presentation that you created, where did you obtain that from?
So the one that I showed you today, that's how I would do it, the presentation, the one on the
Oh,
cloud. CMA.
Your cloud CMA.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it'll pull one, but however, I understand right now, literally, that that's a listing presentation
Mhm.
about, the ways that we can help them sell their house. But I don't have a listing presentation.
Presentation.
Yeah,
Okay.
like
Okay.
like a standard one.
Okay. So Command
So should I
provides,
vote?
yeah, you definitely need, guys, a buyer's presentation and a listing presentation, period, bar none, you need them.
Okay.
Command has them, very easy to go in. Dayla showed all of you guys how to do that in the one class, right? Okay, everybody feels comfortable with going in and creating your own? Yeah, okay. And if you don't, happy to help you guys. Okay, or if you're not comfortable, reach out to your mentor, okay? The biggest thing I would say about the working with buyers is, and I had to jump off yesterday because I was leaving for a closing. I don't know, how much did Kathy talk on a buyer's meeting yesterday? I know she did some on the field trip,
Yeah.
but did she talk about it some more yesterday?
Just a little bit.
Just a little? You don't remember? You guys have had a lot. You guys have had a lot. And kudos honestly to you guys for being here, being in class, and you guys that are online too. I definitely remember, it's just 3 years ago when I was licensed. It's a lot of information that's thrown at you, right? Kind of feels like brain overload, right? Yeah, does nobody feel like their brain is overloading? Luna, do you? At times. Okay, Dominique, what about you? Good, good, okay. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about this a little bit. This portion here that is in your books 5 through, it's a lot of this. 5 through page 35 is all basically your buyer's presentation through command, okay? I'm not gonna cover this portion, okay? You already learned with Daniel, like I said, how to create a listing. It's the same thing for your buyers. Hi, Charles. Sign in for me and if you name tag, so just everybody else. Thanks for being here. So I'm not gonna go over this. If you need help, reach out to your mentor or to Margaret. Margaret is more than willing to help too with anything like that, okay? But for time's sake, I'm not going over that for you guys. So important facts. Kathy talked about it at her field trip. Oh, thank you, thank you. It is extremely crucial when you're working with buyers to have a buyer's meeting, okay? Don't be afraid to have that. You want to set expectations for your buyers and for you, okay? It's also a great time to learn a lot about your potential buyers, okay? I have my buyers come into the office here if it's convenient for them. If you have them come into the office here, it's nice because you can show them around, right? Take them on a tour. Offer them a bottle of water, a cup of coffee, take them around, show them what a beautiful brokerage that we have that you're represented with. If you can't come here, fine. Meet them at a Starbucks, a Dunkin', Panera, I don't care where, meet them. Their house, wherever, or a Zoom meeting. But you must, in my opinion, have a buyer's meeting. You must. The things, why do we want to have a buyer's meeting? What can you tell me that would be very, very important?
Figure them out.
Figure them out, that's good. That's good. That's good. Okay. What else? Luna, why would I have a buyer's meeting? What's important about it?
Kind of narrow down like their criteria.
Okay. Their area, what schools maybe, how many bedrooms, that type thing? Okay. Michelle, why is a buyer's meeting important?
So you can instill confidence.
That's very good. That's very good. Charles?
See about understanding the situation.
Okay. Good. Dominic, what do you think? Am I saying it right, Dominic?
Yeah, Dominique.
Okay.
Dom.
Dom? Okay.
It doesn't matter.
I'll probably do Dom.
Oh, yeah, that's
okay.
fine.
Okay.
To kind of see if their expectations are realistic, to see if you actually get up to that way.
There you go, right there. That's the other reason, right there. You just hit the nail on the head. Remember what she said, what Kathy said on her field trip? When you're meeting with the buyer, don't be afraid to ask them. Also, before you meet with them, when you have that first phone call with them, ask them, is there anybody that's going to be important in the process or it's going to help make decisions for you during this buying process? If they are, have mom and dad or whomever, Sally, Joe, whoever it is, come to that buyer's meeting, right? Have them there, they meet you, you know how big of a role this person's going to play, right? Then the other question that I ask a lot in my buyer's meeting is just exactly what I had Kathy remind the other day at the field trip. Sherelle, the last time you bought a car, how long did it take you to buy a car? What was your process? If it's forever and ever and ever and da 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 da, what Dom just said, it might not be the time for them to buy a house right now. Yes, do you still want to add them to your database or database? Yes, absolutely. But don't be afraid to explain to them what the market is. Yes, we are softening some, right? In some areas. You might not necessarily want to work with everyone that you have a buyer's meeting with. It's okay. You're your own boss, right? I know when you're new, you're like, oh, I need a transaction. I need money, right? But make wise decisions, right? Remember, you can fire them. They can fire you. Okay? Makes sense. What else would be really, really important in a buyer's meeting? what is the main thing that as realtors that we're doing for people? What are we here to do?
Find the best deal,
Okay. Find them the best deal, right?
negotiate.
Negotiate for them, okay? Provide service. Always, always come from contribution. Always come from contribution. Always. The thing that I think that is really important in real estate is every buyer, every seller, it's a different story. And that's exactly what it is. Like Kathy, the other day read that Facebook post from that couple posting about selling their home and all their memories. Remember, it's not just a transaction, it's a very important time in somebody's life, right? Don't treat each of your buyers identically. They're all different, right? Some have kids. The schools are important, you know? Some are single people. There's so many different things. Get to know your clients and you'll have fun with it, right? I think real estate is fun. I really enjoy it. Some tips that I would give you. I think the important thing, whatever your buyer's presentation is, let it be you, be real, right? Know your buyer's presentation, practice it. You can partner up with each other, do it with mom, dad, your kids, whomever, they can sit across the table and be your guinea pig. The more times you practice it, the better you're gonna be, right? But know it when you walk in and you sit down with people. Be confident. The other thing I would say is the buyer that's sitting across the table from you, you are the expert in their eyes, right? So if you're nervous for your first buyer's presentation, it's okay. You know a ton more than they do, right? Offer them coffee, a water, do whatever you need to relax yourself, and then just take off and do your presentation. If you've prepped yourself, you'll be good, okay? A buyer's meeting, in my opinion, normally lasts about an hour. Allow about an hour. Some people have more questions than others, and that's fine. Always remember to, if you don't know the answer, it's okay. What do you say? If you don't know the answer, what do you say? You know what? That's a great question. I'm sorry, I don't know, but I will find out for you. Don't make something up. Don't be that person, okay? The important part, I think, is this, the home buying process in this book. Explain this from start to finish. If we look at this, if you guys turn to this page, if we look at this, do you need one for today?
No, I have it. I just.
Okay, that's okay. Does everybody understand this entire process? You would, because you've done transactions. Michelle would for sure. Charles, Muna, Dom, are you guys familiar? Can you explain this whole process to your buyer that's never purchased a home before? They're 20 years old, they're scared out of their mind. What's gonna happen? Everybody feel comfortable with this? Kind of, okay. Muna, anybody else, be honest, anybody else not completely comfortable with explaining this? Okay, then I'm gonna do that with you one-on-one, and it's perfect, okay, no worries.
Random question.
Yeah,
Where did Kathy have these data?
you know what, more than likely, I would say Monks is a local printer that we use, but what I will tell you is, don't spend money you don't have to spend, right?
Plus, I want to do everything digital.
You wanna what?
Do majority of the stuff digital, because a lot of people.
Okay, and a lot of people do like digital. Remember though, my listing presentation is digital. On our team, it's digital. Our buyers is not, but you could turn this digital.
Yeah, I figured like create something kind of like this, but
Yep.
not like a plethora.
Yep.
Of everything, just have some available for some older people that
Right.
are.
Because some people still want that,
Yeah,
like,
they
they do, they want to hold on to, they do. And it's like you're giving them something that they walk away from, it's a gift, right? So yeah, Monks is probably where these were made, but right back here, you can print anything you want to. Just your last 4 digits of your social is how you print color, and these little, what do you call these little coochies? They're free, they're right back there. Yes, they're right back in the drawer. And there's also the little machine, you can slide your paper in that puts these nice little holes, and it puts this on here for you.
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's all back there.
oh,
There's
yeah,
cardstock paper back there that's free to use. Put it right in the printer. The only thing you're gonna get charged for here is the actual printing, color, black and white's free, and they add it to your monthly bill, and it's very inexpensive. And the thing, if you're doing it here, if you can't figure out how to operate it, go grab Pam, she's wonderful. I can get these holes in here, but getting this little stupid thing on here, no, I fight for that thing.
So in reality, we can create that ourselves.
Yes, you can. Yes, you
Sounds good to
can.
me.
Don't spend money that you don't have to spend, right? Don't. Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. So what one could even do is maybe take some things from here that you like, right? And the command, there's like 4 or 5 different buyers presentations you can put together. Who says you can't make a combination, right? Put it together. Come in here, print it on cardstock, use the nifty little machine, and here you go. I would make my buyer's presentation and my listing presentation, personally, I would make them generic. I would make them generic. I personally, do what you like, you're in business for yourself, but I would make it generic so you can use it for anyone, okay? They're always in your car, you have them, or electronic, whatever. I don't wanna have to worry about if I'm out and about, running into the office and changing it to have a picture of their house on it and their name. That's not me. If it's you, do it, that's fine.
What do you think about having like generic ones, but parts like the digital ones have like it one quick access where you can edit it.
Sure.
Like here's a standardized kind of like, well, I didn't go over, but here's one I created personally for you.
Sure, sure. The most important thing in real estate, guys, is you're your own business owner, right? Do what works for you, right? KW gives you so many tools that you can use to make your life easier, like Command, your buyer's presentation, your listing presentation. My personal opinion, they're way, way, way too long, way too long. Somebody doesn't want to sit there and get lost, and you don't want to watch somebody at your buyer's presentation, your listing presentation, being like, oh, how much longer is this? They got me locked in this room. So think about it that way. When you're creating it, how long would you want to sit there? Would you find value in what is in that presentation? What would you want to know if you were a brand new buyer, right? What questions would you have? That's what you want your buyers.
So if, which I kind of agree with, looking over, like sometimes you can all see. Would you think it's a bad idea to say like right here, with the home buying process, you go over the steps with whoever you're talking to and just tell them to ask any questions about any particular stuff that they're not too sure of or how it works?
Yeah, you could do that.
Kind of test the process.
You could do that. And you know what? You are going to meet, each buyer's meeting is going to be different. You're going to meet with some buyers, it's their second home. Maybe they're moving here from Georgia. They've already bought a home. Ask them. As you're going through each stage of in your buyer's meeting, you're going to ask qualifying questions to know how does that meeting need to go for you and for them, right? So you like, I'm meeting with Sherelle, and I said, oh, Sherelle, that's right. You purchased your first house in Georgia. Oh, that's exciting. Okay, so how long ago was that when you purchased your first house? 10 years ago? Okay, let's look at this together. We'll run through this. Do you look at this briefly? Do you have questions on this, or do you have a good memory of this, right? So each one's going to be different, okay? But in your buyer's meeting, you want to make sure that you provide confidence. You're going to, in a buyer's meeting, ask them, are you pre-approved? If they're not, don't waste your time running all over God's creation, taking them to look at homes. You don't know, they may think they're pre-approved or they're going to be approved for a $300,000 home, and then you connect them with one of your 3 lenders and you find out they're, 200. Well, if you set them up on a search for 300, you set their expectations way up here. They're seeing homes in the MLS that you're receiving for 300,000, and then you find out from the lender that it's only 200,000. It's really hard to bring somebody down from a $300,000 house to a 200, right? So when I have my buyer's meeting, when I get to the lender part, I always say, are you already pre-approved? They say yes. Great. Who are you pre-approved with? Is it better for them to be pre-approved with a local lender or a big bank? Which is better? Huh?
What would,
Local? Why, Charles?
so, things are, basically, so they're basically more strict with the money.
Okay.
The local lender might do like more things, probably like work more.
Okay. What's another reason and the answer is local lender. It's always local lender. What's another reason why you want your buyer to be pre-approved with a local lender?
So we might have to make sure
relationship, right? Because if we run into a bind or we have turbulence or whatever, I want to be able to pick up the phone, I want to be able to speak to their loan officer. If they go through, I have nothing against big banks, I bank with Chase. Personally, no, I'm not, they have much improved in working relationship with realtors, so that's, but a local lender is always better. They have relationship, they have money in the game, right? Because they're gonna wanna work with you on another transaction. So if I have a question, I can pick up the phone and call whoever my go-to lender is. Hey, Mike, what's going on? What's going on with this file? I'm not gonna get transferred to 22 people and maybe get a phone call or an email back 2 or 3 days later. Also, when you're on the listing side, if we're looking at offers and your client A is offering the same as client B, but client A has a local lender and B has some lender that's way out of, that I've never heard of, what's the listing agent gonna advise their sellers to do? Yeah, they're gonna go to a local lender, okay? So in your buyer's meeting too, you're always, if they're not pre-approved, great time, you bring that up when you get to the mortgage portion. Here is a list of the lenders that I typically refer my clients to. You need to have 3 on there. You know, you all learned that in school, you have to have 3. You are going to have your favorite lenders that you work with. You are, and that's okay. So all you do is, let's pretend this is the lending page. Okay, here's the list of lenders that you can reach out to. Feel free to reach out to anyone, any of these. I tend to typically work with or see great results with and go and say in this order, but you still gave them 3, right? Your bases are covered, but don't be afraid to do that, okay? If they're not pre-approved, that needs to be one of the very first things they do. You should not set them up on a home search, in my opinion, until they're pre-approved, you know the dollar amount. Don't show them things that they can't have. I also, me personally, it's your choice, your business for yourself. I don't take people out unless they're pre-approved. I don't. I just don't. Yeah, you just, A, it's your time, right? B, it's that seller's time to get that house ready. It's a lot of work to get a house ready, right? Get the dogs out, get the kids out, everything. And if you're taking somebody through that cannot purchase that home, it's a waste of everyone's time, in my opinion. You also, when you submit the offer, in my opinion, your pre-approval letter needs to go with it. Not 3 days after, that's also my opinion. You can send it either way. If I'm on the listing side and I'm comparing offers, I'm gonna take the offer, if it's the same as the other, with the pre-approval letter that's in hand the time the offer is submitted. Don't be afraid to build a relationship with your lender. Ask your lender, hey, will you call that listing agent and just reify what a great buyer that we have? That means a lot to a listing agent, okay? So find your 3 lenders that you like to work with. There's many great ones, right? Find 3 great home inspectors that you love to work with. This Saturday, from 9 to 11, Habitation Investigation will be here speaking on home inspections. They are actually going to bring completed, I don't know if it's going to be 1 or 2, but completed home inspections, and they're going to review them with you. You'll be able to take a hard copy with you so you can see what a home inspection looks like, and you can ask them any questions you want. So I strongly encourage you guys to get that class Saturday. The Saturday classes are always the 2nd and 4th every month. Saturday every month. And our Thursday night classes, for those of you that don't know, are every Thursday 6:30 to 7:30, and those are by way of Zoom. And you can gain the Zoom link by the My Market Center email or in your MCM website if you've already met with your mentor and have met. Okay, those are really important things to be on. Okay, so your buyer's meeting, you're gating about them, you're providing contribution, your expertise. You want to let them know in your buyer's meeting too, something that I feel is extremely important. You can help them with obviously anything that's in their goal.
Got it.
Anything, is everybody else cold? Okay, I'm always, sorry.
This room's colder than the rest of the room.
Girls, are you cold? Yeah.
What's it set up?
I did too, but I'm always having hot flashes. I completely forgot, what was was I just talking about? Help me remember. Oh, in your buyer's meeting. So if your buyer is pre-approved, or even if they're not, pull up at the end of your buyer's presentation, make it fun, right? I make buying a home fun, right? I tell my buyers, I always have some other things for you guys to know. These are back here, always in the drawer. Anything that's back there, you guys are welcome to use, take, it's helpful. It doesn't have to be Northwest, that's just who's always back here. Have a file for each one of your clients, right? It's where you're gonna write their name, their email, their phone number. In a buyer's meeting, ask them, how do they prefer to be communicated with? Is it a text? Is it an email? Is it a phone call? What's their preference? Let them know too, what is their best way to get in touch with you, right? Make those notes. Sometimes I make them right on the border, or I just take a piece of paper, fill things out, okay? Make sure you know the best way to communicate. If it is a husband and wife that are looking for a home, anytime I text them, typically most people, it seems like now text is their best form of, it's mine always, because if I'm teaching or I'm in a closing, I'm not gonna answer my phone, but I can see a text, and an email is the last thing I see. I check those when I can. So ask them, but if you're working with a husband and wife or whatever, I create a group text because I want to make sure they're both on the same page, right? If you're working with, like I was telling Sherelle earlier, a listing where it's 3 grandkids are selling grandma's house and they don't get along with 3. Everything is documented in a text or an email, okay? So create that known up front. How are we going to communicate? Also let them know that as their realtor, don't be afraid to ask them to sign the buyer's loyalty agreement. And that's in here, we're gonna go through it. The reason you're doing that is, right, your time is extremely important, right? You're gonna give them 110% excellent customer service. Therefore, you expect the same back from them. And don't be afraid to ask them. Say, hey, when I set you up on the search, you're gonna see all the homes that are available as soon as the realtor lists them. As soon as they see them, they're gonna be sent right to you. It makes you guys look like pros. It makes it look like you work 24 hours a day, okay? Also let them know if they're out driving and they see a home that's for sale by owner, take a picture of it. Send it to me. I'll call that for sale by owner. I'll set up the showing. I'm gonna take you through. Also let them know if they want to be involved with a new build, that you're also their person.
Yeah.
You need to be at their first meeting when they go to the new build. And then you need to be with them throughout that transaction. If you're not at the first meeting with most builders, you're not gonna get paid. So be there.
Oh, yeah, don't go
Be
without
there.
you.
Do not let them go without it.
But with the new builds, how do you stay on top of where the new builds are going up? Like, is it just being around and being in the office? I think that's what Kathy said yesterday. And then do you have a working relationship with the builders? Or, because I know I had one client that did want a new build and we went out to the property. They are, they have certain stipulations, like you can get a discount if you work with their lender and certain things like that. But how do you know typically where the new builds are going up? And
A good Facebook group to join to is I think it's builder to builder or realtor to realtor, I think it is. I would recommend joining that. Are all of you also members of the our Greater Columbus Facebook page? Are all of you already members to that? Don't be afraid to ask that question on there. Like, hey, I have a client that is looking in the, I have to go through, don't be afraid to ask on there. Hey, Mark, how are you? Good. Hey, I am actually teaching at the office. Are you available a little later today? I have a proposition for you. Probably I could be 12:30-ish. Okay. That sounds perfect. Thank you. Have a good one. All right, bye-bye. You guys, real estate is all about relationships. So Mark, that I just answered that call to, he and I went to class at Congress, right? Very good friends. He is also at this brokerage, right? Sidetrack. Name 3 ways. Yeah, no, 4 ways. 4 ways you can earn money in real estate.
Like buyers.
At Keller Williams, especially. Right there. He's in my downline.
Oh, cool.
He's an awesome guy. Always think outside the box, right? You're out and about and you meet somebody, restaurant, whatever. You think they'd be a great realtor or whatever? Don't be afraid to have a conversation with them, right? You can make a lot of money in profit share.
So in Georgia, we started doing Keller Williams there offers free pre-licensing classes there. Online, self-paced, and it's already approved. So getting people to sign up for the classes for free, then they'll use you as your.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You can always too, our Saturday workshops, you're always welcome. If you have someone you meet out and about and is thinking about maybe even joining real estate or learning more about it, have them come to one of our Saturday morning workshops. They can come and just sit, listen, right? Okay, other ways you can make money in real estate. Profit share, very good. What else? Selling.
Referring,
Oops. Referrals, very good, referrals, right, referrals. How easy is that? You guys with your database, right? People don't think just local, right? Think people everywhere, right? You can connect somebody to a great realtor in California. We're in California, right? You can, what do you make for doing a referral? 25%. Is that easy money for connecting 2 people? Right? Pretty easy. And then of course you said buying, right? Okay, also your listing, right? So that's 4 great ways to make money, right? Always as many avenues as you can do is good, right? But the Keller Williams Facebook page, don't be afraid to ask questions in there. Another thing I highly suggest is work open houses. Charles works open houses a lot. Several people do an open house, right? Get with your mentor. You need to do a open house with your mentor at least once or twice. They're going to tell you when you're good to go and you can go hold your own open house, right? Or if there is another mentee in the group that has hosted a couple open houses, go shadow them if your open house isn't available, okay? You're always welcome to shadow me on any of my open houses, okay? But you need to get out there. You need to be busy, right? And you are going to gain buyers by working open houses. No, do you like working an open house on a Saturday or Sunday? Probably not. That's okay. Suck it up. You got to do it, right? It's just where it's at. You got to be successful. If you want to be successful, do it. Let's put it that way. Okay. What questions do you guys have from what I have shared with you thus far? No questions? Anything shocking? Anything surprising? No? Okay. So in your buyer's meeting, you're really just coming from contribution. You're showing them that you're the expert. You're going to help them. Okay. Once they're pre-approved, then set up their search. Do not be afraid in your buyer's meeting to pull up the MLS. If they're looking in Westerville, pull it up. Actually, when you first pull it up, just show them how many active homes, single family homes there are in the Columbus. And they'll be like, wow, you want to let them know. We're still low on inventory, right? 13,000 is where we need to be. We always say it's like we're a bread store with no bread on the shelves to sell. And we still are, right? So people still, it's definitely softening, but let them see it real, right? Also, do not be afraid to let your buyers know Zillow is not their best friend. Zillow is out of date. It's never right, okay? You set them up on a search. If they ever want their search tweaked or changed, let them know you're happy to do that. But you teach your client how you want to be treated, okay? And you take care of all that by having a buyer's meeting up front. You will save so much time. You're not going to run yourself ragged if you set expectations, okay? Make sense? Okay, things that I give, just because I like to come from contribution and you guys are going to too. In my buyers meeting, they're always walking away with this book, whatever your book is, or if you want to email it to them digitally, like Dom said, that's fine. Whatever your go-to is, however you want to give that to them, okay? Something else, and did Kathy give you guys things? Okay, Charles has one, Michelle does. You don't. Dom, do you have this?
No.
Okay, I probably have enough in here. I'll go through it. This is just 10 Ways to Win. It's a book that Kathy wrote when we were very much in the hyper sellers market. This was just a way to educate our buyers to let them know what they may or may not need to do in order to win the home that they're in love with. It educates them. Once again, you're coming from contribution. I make sure I give each you one of these. Read it, understand it. Like I said, we are softening a bit, but some of these tools you still need to know. Okay. I also, anything you can give them at your buyer's meeting, coming from contribution, give it to them. Make sure you explain what a home warranty is. They need to know what it is. This is America's Preferred, it's Keller Williams Preferred Home Warranty. The flyers are right in the center section. Everybody know where your mailbox is? They're right there. Take them, fill up your, have tools, okay? Anything else you can think that you want to give them, give it to them at that buyer's meeting, okay? Make, in my opinion, when you are showing homes, make it fun, right? When I go on a showing, and I tell them this too at the buyer's meeting, I am always going to have an MLS printout for myself and for them, okay? I always highlight pertinent information. This client here in particular is a brand new, hi Dela, brand new first-time home buyer. They have never purchased before, and honestly, they are all over the board. I had a buyer's meeting with them. I've only taken them out twice. More highlighted than I would typically do. The important things that I would is price. Is it in a subdivision? The schools, how many square feet? Does it have HOA fees? And what are the taxes? Because that's really important on what their monthly payment's gonna be.
No, if a place has HOA fees, they're automatically populated with a special area.
No. Okay. Listing agents, when they put the property in the MLS, should list what the HOA fees are there. And it's gonna say if they're annually, monthly, and then it's also gonna say what they are including, okay? Just remember, HOA fees are on top of whatever their monthly payment is. That is not included in their mortgage, okay? Their mortgage is gonna include their payment, their property taxes, and their insurance.
And some of those HOA.
Some HOA fees are really, really high. I have another buyer that I'm showing tomorrow afternoon. Her HOA fees are the one we're looking at tomorrow is $375 a month. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. It is. It is. So I always tell them, I'm always going to have this for my buyers when I take them to, sorry, I got hot.
No, I didn't want to disturb you.
Thank you. They're cold, I'm hot. I have my sheet, they have their sheet, okay? I like to make buying a home fun, okay? My husband and I have flipped a lot of properties. I'm a big lover of Chip and Joanna Gaines, okay? I like to have fun. So I always tell them, when we go out to see homes, you're gonna rate the homes, okay? 1, I open that door, you love it. This is my house, Mary, tell me what I have to do to get it. That's a 1, okay? A 2 is, I open the door, they've seen it, I like it with a few minor changes, okay? A 3, this is a no-go, we're out of here. 5, that's perfect. We rate it, I write it on their form, and then if I also am showing them more than, say, 3 homes in a day, or even if it's 1 to make it fun, I have them name the house, right? Like this particular buyer, the first home I took him out to see, first off, garage doors are typically left unlocked because that's how the sellers get back into the home. Don't lock that door. If it's unlocked, leave it unlocked. We went into the garage. I don't know if it was the husband or the wife, accidentally locked the garage door. My cell phone, my keys, everything was in on the kitchen counter. We were locked in the garage. I looked everywhere for a key.
You were locked in the garage.
We were locked in the garage. I could open the garage, we opened the garage, but I couldn't get back in the house. Because typically when I show a house, not everybody does this, I do. When I open the Supra, I take the key, I put it back in there so I know where it's at. When I go in the house, I set it down, I typically lock the door. For me, it's a safety thing. You don't have to do that, it's up to you. If another realtor comes, I go greet the door, hi, I'm Mary, come on in, welcome to join, whatever. I just lock the door. If I wouldn't have locked that door, we could have got back in. So what did I do? I asked, does anybody have a credit card? We broke in the garage door.
How it really works.
It does really work. And the thing is, I couldn't get it to work, and this was my first showing with this young couple. And I said, wow, I've never had this happen before, and this is the first time we've met at a house. This is interesting, this goes down quick. And I kept trying the door, and I could hear it, but it wouldn't release. And I could tell the wife was getting a little frustrated, and I'm thinking, you're the one that actually locked us in here, but I didn't say anything. She watched me for a little bit, and she's like, I go, do you want to try? She goes, yeah, she went up there, did it once and was in it. And her husband goes, huh, do you have like another trade or whatever? So just know, don't lock that garage door, okay? So in that case, because I always have them name the house to make it fun, we named that one Locked in the Garage. That was that house. So whatever you can do, because you're gonna have stressful points in real estate, right? You're gonna hit turbulence. Your job as a realtor is to lessen it, right? Remember what Kathy said the other day? Your child or friend, whatever it is, if you don't have kids, your child reacts to however you react, right? So it's the exact same thing with all of your clients, right? If you run into a situation or something goes bad, find a solution before you even present it to your clients, right? Why create a fire if you don't need to, right? And don't even create the fire. Find a way to solve it first, right? That's the kind of realtor your clients want to work with, okay? Does that make sense? And I always, for me personally, I have a folder for every person as I show them houses. And just as, you don't have to, everything is a choice. If I've shown them homes, I staple my MLS sheet in their folder. You don't have to do that. I just do. It gives me an idea kind of when I look back through like, oh, okay, we looked at this one in this area. They rated it a 2. Okay, this one they're wanting to see, wow, it's not even close, right? So don't be afraid to ask questions.
Some people, I mean, still print the MLS sheet and keep a copy of it like in their computer up until closing, because some agents will change the commission.
True, that's a good point. That's a very, very good point.
Yeah.
Does everybody know where to find what you're, got a little derailed, but it's okay. Does everybody know where to find on the MLS where you're gonna get paid? How much you're gonna get paid? Yeah. If it's only 2%, do you not show that house to your buyers? You still show it, right? Yeah, you show it. They wanna see it, you show it. Okay. Okay, all right. Any questions? Okay, so we are actually, if we're going by books say, we are going to page 37. Because these are when you are working with, how are we on time? Oh, we're good. Okay, consumer guide to agency relationships. I'm not gonna read through this. Has everyone seen consumer guide before? Muna, have you seen this before? Okay, Don, what about you?
Yes.
Okay, and Charles, I know you have Michelle Chevelle, is very similar to Georgia?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Just know you need to be able to explain it to your clients that you're working for. It's your job to explain all forms. Don't just email these forms to your sellers or your buyers and just have them sign it. Don't do that. That is not what you're getting paid to do. You're getting paid money to represent them, okay? You also, as a realtor, you make the choice. Dual agency, as we know in Ohio, is allowed. Is it in Georgia? No. Okay. You make the decision as yourself as a realtor if you want to operate with dual agency
I think
completely.
it's allowed, but not at our brokerage. So.
Says no. Okay. I have strong feelings against it. I don't believe in dual agency. Personal opinion, it's your right if you want to represent both sides. Me personally, I don't know how you can represent both sides and be equally correct, but it is your choice, okay? So you always you need to be able to explain consumer guide. Let your clients know. you're representing them or the buyers. Also, what is dual agency?
I have a question.
Yeah,
So if you took a buyer to a FISBO.
Yep.
And the FISBO wants to list with you, do you just give it to someone on your team? Do you still get a referral fee for it? How would you do this?
no. Sadly, if my buyer reaches out to me and they're out driving and they see a for sale by owner, or they see them on Zillow a lot, they see FISBOs a lot on there. Sadly, you as the buyer's agent, you're just doing double work, and getting paid for one.
So if the FISBO wants to list with you? like
Well,
after you take them to the
typic-
house? Like if you do a walkthrough and then the FISBO talks to you a little bit after and they decide, you know what, I've been doing this for blah, 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 I got any offers, could you list it for me? What would you do?
Honestly, it would probably depend on the situation. I wouldn't turn that listing down.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
saying.
wouldn't turn that listing down. However, if my buyer was interested in it also, I would more than likely reach out to somebody on our team
Yeah.
and ask them to write the offer. I'm gonna get a referral for it,
Okay.
of course. Or you could ask your mentor to represent them or another mentee, a good way to help a mentee. But no, I personally, I wouldn't do both. There are a lot of people that would, and that's fine. It's legal in the state of Ohio. I just don't think you can help both parties correctly. Yeah, makes sense. But if your buyer wants to see a FISBO, 9 times out of 10, they're normally not priced right? So do your due diligence, run the CMA, see if it's priced right. They probably do not even know the seller, the FISBO, what an RPD is, right? You're gonna provide them the form. You're not, residential property disclosure, okay? If it's older and it needs lead-based paint, they're not gonna have that form either. I will have it printed. I will provide it to them. I'm not gonna give them any advice on how to do it. I've done several for sale by owners that my buyers have wanted to see, and I only represent the buyer. All I do is present the documents needed for the seller to close that transaction.
Then if your buyer is not interested in the FISBO, then you.
Then sure, then go, by all means, go after. I see why you're good on the phone. You're-
I just want to listen.
That's good, that's good, and you want to.
Yeah,
You want to, right? FISBOs typically, you really should get paid probably at least 4% for getting a buyer in contract with a FISBO. You really should, but you're coming from contribution. And you know what? Who's to say you did a great job representing your buyer and helping that FISBO giving, that maybe they're gonna refer you to somebody, right? They could share your name still, right? Makes sense? Okay, so always explain your forms. Okay, exclusive right, I'm on page 39. Exclusive right to represent buyer for residential property. This is a form, do not be afraid to have printed and have at your buyer's meeting, okay? Ours, we use a buyer's loyalty agreement on our team, but that's exactly what this is. You are asking them for their buy-in that you're gonna represent them. Remember, you're gonna give them 110% great customer service, and you expect the same for them. FISBOs, new builds, whatever they see, you're their person. You're their person. You're gonna help them. So don't be afraid to ask them to sign this.
Is this the actual form?
That is the extra form. And it's gonna be in your loop. It's in your loop. Everything you guys need is in your loop. And also, just so you know too, in the MCM program, you guys have a transaction coordinator, Kate, and she checks all of your paperwork. She makes sure all of your forms are in, I's are dotted, T's are crossed. Your mentor is gonna check your work too. But part of the MCM program, that is a coverage that you're paying Kate to check all your stuff. So it allows you to go out and go on the road more, work with more buyers, get more listings, okay? So that's just part of your MCM program, okay? So of course, have this in there, don't be afraid to ask for it. Okay, page 42. This is just a generic pre-approval letter. Remember, don't be afraid in your buyer's meeting, if it's not a local lender, just say, oh, that's great, you're pre-approved with such and such. Are you open to other suggestions? And let me tell you why it would be in your best interest to at least get a second opinion with a local lender, okay? A lot of times too, if somebody says to you, I'm pre-approved through Ally or a lot of those you see on commercials and stuff, they're not pre-approved. They did not truly, yes,
Can you explain that to me? Like what they actually are?
what they actually are or what they do.
Like, so so I have a friend who lives out of state. But
Yep.
he was living in my house like for a year. And he was like, I was rocking mortgage or whatever.
Yep.
And I was like, you're not really pre-approved, but like I could really explain it like all the
Okay,
way.
so remember, right, as a Realtor, you wear a Realtor hat, right? You wear a Realtor hat. Your job is just to say what you just said to him. Oh, okay, you know what? In my experience, I have not heard great things about Rocket Mortgage. You truly may not be a pre-approved. What happens is like Ally or Rocket Mortgage, or there's a whole bunch of them. They don't actually run credit. They don't ask for pay stubs. They don't anything. I had one of my buyers I worked with recently, I said, are you pre-approved? And they said, yes, I'm pre-approved with Ally. And I said, oh, okay. Can you send me the pre-approval letter? He did. And I said, do you mind just getting a second opinion? No, that's great. I connected him with my local lender. And the local lender said, hey, I forget which client it was. Let's say Bob. Bob, can you please, I need your pay stubs. And he's like, pay stubs? What do you mean? And he's like, well, what you would have provided to Ally, because a good lender is not going to dog another lender, right? He said, the pay stubs that you would have provided for Ally so they could do your pre-approval. He's like, well, I didn't provide anything. They just asked me what I made and I just gave them a number. That's not a pre-approval. That's a pre-qualification, exactly. So
That's what that.
that's
Yeah.
it. So just tell your friend, hey, that's great. It's in my experience, I believe you should get a second opinion. Here are 3 of the lenders I work with a lot. Please reach out to them. Without saying, oh, Rocket sucks, they're bad. Don't say that.
He's actually in South Carolina.
Okay.
Down there.
A lot of the lenders in Ohio can do many, many, many things.
So I was,
So whatever your 3 favorite are, give them to your friend.
I have a friend that's from Columbus that I actually met in Atlanta, which was wild because we're both from Columbus.
Oh, that's funny.
But he is a lender there, but he does work here too, so I plan on.
That's good.
Still, 'cause
You already have a connection with them. You have a relationship. Yeah. You want to think of it when you're a Realtor. You're the Realtor. That's the cap we wear, right? Don't cross lanes. Don't try to be the lender. That's rude. You don't know. The rates change every day. The programs change every day. Don't give your client lender advice. That's what your lender does, right? Your lender doesn't cross into your lane, right? Like Kathy said the other day, home inspector. Yeah, I have flipped a ton of houses. I can go to a house and typically see, but that's not my role. I'm gonna point out things if I see them. Think of it as you're a Realtor, you have a toolkit, right? You want 3 good lenders, 3 good home inspectors, and some repair people like handymen. Build those relationships with them too. They're gonna do a ton for you if you treat them right. They're gonna treat you right, okay? Just stay in your lane. You have enough to know and learn being a Realtor. Don't try to be other people, okay? And always phrase it at, in my experience, I have not heard good things about. I think it's in your best interest. I have three different lenders. I think you should reach out to them. Make sense? That's a good question. That's a good question. And lenders, be a good Realtor, guys. Don't throw lenders under the bus. If you make a mistake on a purchase contract or something, you forget to write in like additional terms and conditions, like you forgot to put in there the refrigerator or stove or whatever. You know what? You're bad. You just bought that client a refrigerator or dishwasher. Don't try to throw that, well, I don't know what the lender did. Don't be one of those people. Don't do it. Don't do it. And don't, if your lender sends a pre-approval for say 300,000, when you set up their search, still, we're softening a bit, but still set their search a little bit lower than whatever their pre-approval is for. So you have some play in there, right? It's like when you want to go buy a car or whatever, right? You think about your payment, set it lower than what you're willing to go, right? Don't put your client in contract on a home more than they're pre-approved for. I can't believe how many realtors do that. And then they say, oh, it's your job, you're the lender, you fix it. Don't be those people. Don't
Or
be
your
those,
clients and how to copy for the different.
right, right. The stories I hear from some of my go-to lenders are terrible. So good pre-approval, not a pre-qualification, a good pre-approval. And then your lender is gonna send you and your buyer a copy, put it in their folder, right? Or digital, I think Dom's a digital guy. Put it in there, however it is you wanna create it, keep it all together. Make sense? Okay. Okay, so when you're out and does everybody, Mona probably doesn't. Does everybody in here know how to do a CMA? No?
Not on this system, not on the.
Okay, okay. Charles, you do, Michelle, you do? Okay. There will be, on our Thursday evening classes, the 6:30 to 7:30, we do creating a CMA. If that doesn't come up within the next 2 weeks or something, ask your mentor, I will be showing you to do a CMA. Okay, we're just so pushed for time that I don't want to make you, okay, you guys, it's 10:08. Let's take a quick, like 7-minute break. If you want coffee, whatever you would like. I'm gonna kind of look through what else we have to go over. And I'm gonna make you guys, I think, a copy of. Are you guys learning a lot in career development? Are you finding it helpful? Yeah? Yeah. Nobody wants to go to the restroom or get a drink? Huh? Did Dayla give you guys when she did the listing, did they actually pass out a copy of a listing contract so you could have it? Yes, perfect. Okay.
It's a- that you built in.
Yeah, did you fill it in together?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good, that's what we're gonna do now. That's good, because that's what I'm gonna spend the rest of this time on. Let's see which one. This one's kind of messy.
Good morning, Mary. This is Adeline.
Hi, Adeline, how are you?
I'm doing good. Sorry, I couldn't make it in class. I didn't have anybody to babysit my kids. I'm just doing it online.
I can't hear you, Adeline. Are you?
I said I was not able to come to the classroom, so I'm just doing the Zoom because I didn't have any babysitter for my kids.
Hey, Adeline, if you have a question, will you type it in the chat? I feel like maybe you're asking me something. You make that appointment yet?
Oh, no.
No. No.
I'm just playing around.
Charles, are you with Kimberly? Is that who you're with? Can I I think Dom is. Dom. We know. Michelle? Michelle? Are you with Jill? Yes, sorry. Jill. That's like it's all like I was asking, who's your girlfriend, right? Shoot. Huh. Whatever you guys do too, when you have your closings, turn in your check so they process, so you get paid. Don't carry it in your bag. Completely forgot. From the title or from the title company, when you close, they're gonna send you a check. Luckily, I was back there making copies for you. This other nice lady is making copies. If I just carry this around, I'm not gonna get paid. Not very helpful. Minus one I printed, it's only 13. Help me remember, guys, when we're going through this, because your purchase contract is 14 pages long and this is 13. So I'm gonna have to see what we're missing. Help me remember that. when we print out these. Page is-
You don't have that, your contacts from your phone, in a CSV.
Ask Margaret. I do not.
Okay.
Margaret will be fantastic at that. Have you had a meeting with Margaret yet?
I had,
Okay. How many have you had?
just one.
Just one? Ooh, where'd you? I'm missing. Just one. When's your next meeting?
I don't know.
Wow, this is all. It's missing this one. Okay, since he comes back. You guys, I passed out to you a copy of a purchase contract. Our purchase contract is 14 pages long. This one that you'll see says 1 of 13. I've already looked, I don't know why it was missing a page, but I've got it noted up here what it is. But just know your purchase contract is always 14 pages. So when you're on the listing side, you receive offers, always make sure, first thing you check is to make sure you have all pages of it. Do me a favor too, on that one that I passed out to you, please write on it, example, because that's all it is an example. And you can have, I recommend, having, do what works for you. Dom's will probably be electronic, but do what works best for you. I have, it's getting kind of beat up, but I have a folder that just has example purchase contracts, listing contracts, and other notes that I have. Whatever you choose to use as your style, keep examples. So that way, when you are writing your first purchase contract or 10 later or whatever, that you're using one that you can just kind of look at and double check yourself. Because remember, when you're asking your client to sign this purchase contract, it's your responsibility to make sure everything in there is correct. You make an error, own it, and do the right thing. Always do the right thing. Okay, so you guys in your book, we are going to go to page. We're skipping this CMA stuff because too many of you have done it. If you haven't, like I said, get with your mentor, or we'll be teaching that on a Thursday evening class. So either way, we'll make sure you learn and you know how to do that. So we are going to actually get out your pens, however you'd like to do it, whatever's best for you. We're going to do a purchase contract. So you've taken your buyer out, you found the perfect house, you've discussed what they want to offer, you've explained appraisal gap, what it means in your buyer's meeting, you've explained earnest money deposit in your buyer's meeting, you've explained home warranty in your buyer's meeting. They're educated. You've taken them out because you've taken your well-educated buyer out to find the perfect house. You found it. Yay, now exciting for you, you're gonna write an offer, okay? So the first thing that you wanna do is, me personally, and I think you're gonna find too in real estate, you're gonna have a lot of screens up on your computer at a time. You guys are gonna do everything through command. Being honest, I don't. The team I'm on, we don't use Command. Command is a great thing. It's free. Use it. Your database, put it in there. It does so many great things for you. As Kathy described, we use Top Producer. That's just what our team uses. So when I go in to write an offer, I don't go into Command. I go straight into Dotloop. You guys, please, did they use Command where you work?
We just had to create the opportunity and
Okay.
submit everything through Command, but we used
DocuSign?
DocuSign.
Okay,
Yeah.
another, okay. So you didn't actually, you created the, which is what you guys are gonna do is, in Command, we create the opportunity, then you're gonna go in to create the listing or a purchase contract for the buyer.
Okay.
That's how they do it here. So you, in Georgia, what did you do?
I went to a separate site called Remind, and that's where our DocuSign was.
Okay,
I created it, and I was able to pull our guard forms,
okay.
the forms for real estate.
Mhm.
I was able to pull those through Remind and fill them out there, and then I would just download. After I finished completing it, send it to clients, they can sign it on there,
Okay,
and they send it back.
okay,
I would download it and then just upload it in opportunities.
okay. So it's gonna be simpler, I feel like, for you here, okay? In Command, that's where all your names are. That's your sphere, your data bank, your data space. Put everybody in there, everybody, put them in there, okay? You already learned about leads and always growing your sphere. Do that. You have to do that to be successful. So you've got your client in there under opportunity, right? And then you're gonna click on to do a listing or a buyer. It takes you straight into Dotloop, takes you straight there. All the forms you need are right there, and you just do it right there. It's gonna save you a step.
I think if I don't use the command form,
What do you use for your database now?
I'll use follow up. It's a
Follow up what?
follow up boss.
Follow up boss? Okay, I don't know that.
It's a.
Okay, so we'll talk through that. Have you looked at the command at all?
Yeah,
You just liked follow up better?
I
Okay, we'll cross that bridge. For those of you that don't have a database, a form like Top Producer Follow Up, Command is free, it's great. It's a great way to track everything, use it, okay? We'll talk about yours, okay? So what you've done is, you've gone to Command, you've created your opportunity, and then we are now, let's pretend we're actually in Dotloop, we're just doing the paper form, okay? So what I would do is, when I'm getting ready to write, is, of course, you always want to pull up the address that you're getting ready to write on, okay? The first thing that I always do, I print this form, okay? I like to see in your, or toggle screens back and forth, whatever you want to do. The first thing you need to know is, now this is the home, this is a home that I actually represented the buyer. I don't know how long ago this was, actually. Doesn't matter. What you need to know when you're representing the buyer, the first thing you need to know is who currently owns the property, okay? Two ways you can find it. Right here on blue, you can click by the parcel number or county. For whatever reason, I tend to like the county better, this link.
What is blue?
What is blue?
Yeah, blue script.
It's just the name of the street.
Oh, okay.
This is the actual property address that you guys have. Did I give you a printed copy?
Yeah, but are you
Okay.
on the,
I'm on the MLS right now.
oh.
This is our MLS, sorry. but You paid your board fees. You have access to the MLS. Do you already have access to the
Not yet.
MLS? Not yet.
Not yet.
Have you received the email from the Columbus board?
Yeah, no, I'm just paying the fees at the end of this month.
That's okay, that's perfect. How long did it take you to receive the email? Because Sherelle's waiting.
Maybe if that,
Okay. It's not quite been that for you, right? Okay. That's what I've heard too, about a week. No, you'd be more, a little more than that, huh?
Well, that took the test on that application, I just did the application, like a few minutes ago, so.
Still call and see if they can rush it.
Okay.
Okay, but this, to answer your question, sorry, Sherelle, this is our Columbus MLS. Probably looks different than what you're used to. Yeah. So you need to know, you already know who the buyer is because you're representing them, right? You need to know who the seller is, right? So I just clicked here. You can click by parcel number or county, and it brought me here. Excuse me. Current owner, Candace Wright. You need to know that, right? Because when you go into Dotloop, you always want to add people first, right? So you're gonna add your buyer, you're gonna add the seller, and if you want, you can add your lender. You guys are all looking at me like deer in the headlights. Did Dayla do this part on listing? Did you actually guys go into Dotloop? No, sorry.
But the only reason why you're adding them is so that you can send them
Make-
forms.
Makes your life easier on your forms.
Okay, good. It populates there.
It populates, you're
Okay.
saving yourself work, okay? And we'll teach it on a Saturday or a Thursday night, okay? So you need their name, okay? So we have that. This is the property that your buyer wants to buy. Let's pretend it's active. You can see right here, it's closed, okay? So now we're gonna go in through and we're gonna fill out a purchase contract, okay? It's already filled in for you here. If you just wanna keep it as an example, that's perfectly fine. Due to time, we have like 30 minutes. This class definitely needed to be at least 3 hours. You guys must know the purchase contract. You need to know it inside and out. You need to be able to explain it with your client sitting across from you, or by Zoom when you're writing it, or a live phone call. You're looking at it live, they're looking at it live. Don't ever send your client a purchase contract and just sign it, good to go. Don't do that.
Just to make sure, I know, of course, besides the obvious, like purchase price, the details of the property, all that changes with every contract.
Yep.
And everything. As far as like, say, the, I don't know, the. attorney
Additional
approval-
terms?
Additional terms, attorney approval costs, does the wording or that in any of these clauses ever change? If, like,
Yes.
Yeah.
It does, a lot, to be
Okay, so
honest.
each contract we should go over it.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely, definitely.
Okay.
So remember this too, and explain in your buyer's meeting, the purchase contract's 14 pages long, right? It was written by attorneys. You're not an attorney, you're a realtor. I always make a joke. I'm a realtor, I can fill in the blanks, right? The attorney wrote it, and the reason our purchase contract is, this is 13, it should be 14. I know what page is missing. The reason it's 14 pages long is because any issue that's ever happened in a real estate transaction is in here to protect both sides.
So they can back up to what
Yep.
we just said. The only thing that changes though is what we insert.
Exactly,
But the baseline of the
Yes.
contract stays the same.
yes.
Gotcha. And then the 14 pages, is that just for the buyer's contract? That's always 14?
Yes. The seller, okay, so you're the buyer, you're representing the buyer, right? This is the purchase contract you're gonna use. When you're a listing agent, this is the exact same thing, you're gonna receive it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're just making sure.
Nope, you're good. You're good. Okay, so in your, in the MCM program, in your shared Google Drive, there are going to be a lot of additional terms and conditions wording that are there for an example. You can also start typing in this section and it'll bring up suggestions. Okay, your mentor is always willing to look over your first 1 or 2 contracts just to make sure you're right and help guide you as to what you should write in here. Okay, so let's just go through this. Read this, understand a purchase contract. If you don't understand it, get with your mentor, okay? So up at the top, premise address, you're gonna be typing that in, right? The date, you're putting the date in over here on the right. Franklin County, parcel number. A lot of this populates for you automatically, okay? You always, this is right here where it's got and further described as, this is the part where I always feel like, hey, I am kind of a little bit of an attorney. You write a description of the property, like this is a 3-level split, 3-bedroom, 2 full bath. I'm just pulling all this information from right up here on the MLS. Purchase price, you put in there the dollar amount, question.
So for the part where it says or further described as,
Uh-huh.
and that's like the legal description, correct or no? Because when it says 3-level split, 3-bed, 2 full bath, 1 half, is that something that you typed in?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
I typed that in.
So in there,
That's blank.
okay, got you.
Is that different, Georgia?
Well, yeah, the legal
Okay.
description is like from the auditor's website,
Oh.
like a parcel ID or.
If you guys have a highlighter or a pen or something, maybe highlight, I'll tell you where I have filled them in. Is that helpful maybe?
Yeah, do you guys attach the deed?
No.
You
do there.
I did.
Okay.
So it'll be like you can either
That's really
do a legal description or the deed is attached. And I'll
Okay.
just select the deed is attached and attach the deed.
Okay, we don't do that here. Okay, but that's a good idea.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so if you guys look in your book and compare the example I gave you, you're gonna know which spots have to be filled in, right? Okay, maybe that's more helpful then. So purchase price, the number you decided, then you always write it out like a check. $220,000, 0 cents. Okay. Additional terms and conditions. These are the things that you're going to write in there. Like purchase is not, if you're representing a buyer and they don't have to sell a house to buy a house, this is always kind of where you can toot your buyer's horn, right? To make them sound like the best buyer. Pick me, it's got a red bow on my offer. So number one on this example that I printed, buyer rescinds her offer presented. We wrote an offer first, and then we ended up, she thought about it for a day, and we wrote a better offer. Okay, she made a higher priced offer. So that's why number one is on there. You're typically not gonna have that. Buyer rescinds. Okay. Purchase is not a contingent upon the sale or closing of any piece of real estate. That's a good one to always write in your additional terms and conditions. It's clarity. My buyer doesn't have to sell anything to buy your seller's home. Buyer is a well-qualified conventional buyer. We were putting that in there honestly during COVID times. Sadly, because a lot of people were losing their jobs. We were just kind of tooting our buyer's horn. It's a good buyer. She's got a good steady job type thing. Also, that number 4, buyer is an essential employee with her employer. That was a COVID time. It really was. You don't need right now 3 or 4. You don't need those when you're writing offers. Let's see. Seller to provide the buyer all warranty documentation. So this particular home had steel beams on the basement walls that were already in. They were put in correctly. They were put in right. I just wanted to make sure that my buyer was going to receive the documentation for whoever installed them. So we had it for recommendation and for her purposes. 6, buyer retains the right to a home inspection and terminates rights therein. Buyer waives the right to ask for any repairs unless the cost of the individual and specific repair exceeds $2,000. Okay. There are many, many different ways you can choose in your buyer. You can help guide them if they're going to do a home inspection, okay? A buyer can opt to not do a home inspection at all. I highly don't recommend that, okay? It's a big purchase. You need that home inspector to do their due diligence. You can do a home inspection and ask that it state in there it's only for informational purposes only. That's just meaning you have the 5 or 6, 7 days that the home inspector is going to go out there, but you're not going to ask that seller for any repairs. This particular one, we were saying, hey, we're going to do the home inspection. However, if an individual in specific, so it's not a combination, say the water heater was bad and I don't know, the what? Furnace was bad. It had to be one item that totaled $2,000 or more, then we're going to ask them to do repairs, okay? This is just a way to let the seller know, hey, my client is not going to nickel and dime your seller, okay? It needs to be a big repair. And you can put in any dollar amount in there you want to, okay? Or there's like 5 different ways you can write a home inspection. When you get ready to write your first offer, get with your mentor and ask for guidance, okay, to know what's best, okay? Number 7, buyer to pay $3,000, and you write it out again like a check, over appraised value. So what that is meaning is, my buyer, I don't remember what we offered on this is too long ago. If it appraised low, she was willing to bring $3,000 in cash in case it didn't appraise, to offset the money for the seller. So she put her chips on the table of $3,000 if it was a low appraisal. Okay? Everybody understand what appraisal gap is? No. Yes, no, raise your hand if you do.
I'm not gonna say with confidence.
That's okay, really quickly. So let's say a home is priced at 200,000, okay? Whatever a home is priced at, the listing agent should feel confident it should appraise at that number. Okay, that should be a safe number. Remember, appraisal is one person's opinion on a specific day. It could be a different number 3 days later. Really doesn't mean much in everything. So it's listed at 200. We came in, we offered 220, okay? My buyer said, I want this house, I really, really want it. My next question to them is, okay, remember from our buyers meeting, we talked about you have X amount of dollars, how much of your money, not including your down payment, are you wanting to put in the event of a low or short appraisal, okay? If they say, well, I don't wanna give any appraisal gap money. Okay, well, if it's listed at 200 and you wanna offer, what did I say, 220, and you don't wanna give any extra money, your offer is not 220, that's a 200 offer, right? If it's listed at 200, they offer 220, and they say, I'm willing to give $10,000 in the event of a low appraisal. If I'm on the listing agent side, to me, that's a hard 210 offer. It's still not 220, right? But at least they did some.
Okay, so if they say something like they're willing to give 15,000, even practically offering 215.
Well, you're still offering 220. Your offer, your purchase contract says 220, but if it doesn't appraise at 220 and it would appraise at, say, 210, you're gonna get 5,000 because your buyer said, I'll give 15. It appraised it, listed at 200, appraised at 210. So it's really short 10,000 from 210 to 220. But my buyer said, I got 15, so they only have to bring $5,000. The buyer. Just remember, whatever it's listed at should be a safe number, what it should appraise for. It should be. It's on the listing agent if it doesn't, not you. But just remember, if you're listed at 200 and your buyer's like, oh, I want to offer 230. If they're not giving appraisal gap money, it is not a 230 offer. You need to explain that in your buyer's meeting. They have to understand appraisal gap in your buyer's meeting.
Because the bank is only going to give whatever the appraise is for.
Correct. That's
So
all they're gonna loan on.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, well,
And you really have to explain it, like some people get appraisal gap money really, really quick when you explain it in a buyer's meeting, and some people it's like, woo, they don't get it. So if they don't get it when you say it, like I take out a piece of paper and I'm like, okay, look, and draw it out. But you make sure in that buyer's meeting, they absolutely understand appraisal gap money. Okay, they have to understand it before you walk out of that meeting. And know if they have any. If they don't have any, you have to be honest with them. I keep saying it's softening a little bit, but their likelihood of getting a home that's brand new on the market, just like 1 to 4 or 5 days, they're probably not gonna get that house. Or you're gonna make a phone call to the listing agent, say, hey, do you have offers?
so would it be wrong to say appraisal gap money is kind of like a sign of good faith, just to say like, hey, if it doesn't appraise for what we're thinking, I'm still gonna do that.
Yes, that's a great way to say it. That's a great way to say it.
Okay.
That's a great way to say it. It's a great way to say it. Remember too, your earnest deposit money. I don't know if I said this right. Your earnest deposit money, they need to understand that in your buyer's meeting too. That is money, once you go in contract, they're going to bring that check to the office. It gets deposited, it goes into a non-interest bearing account. And that money is subtracted from, if the lender says they need 12,000 to close, say they gave a 2,000 earnest deposit, they needed 12 to close, that 2,000 comes back to closing, they only need to bring 10. Okay, that makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, let's move down. I really, 15 minutes to explain this, wow. Okay, all right, we'll do what we can. Number two one here, attorney approval clause. It's written by an attorney. If you write a number in here, like this has on it, that means that the buyer's agent and the seller's agent both have the right during that time period to have an attorney look over this purchase contract. Okay? Number 3.1, make a note. This is only if your buyer's paying cash. 3.1 is a cash buyer, okay? Don't put your buyer's initials in 3.1 if they're getting a loan, okay? Okay, 3.2, they're getting financing. Okay, that's financing, so make a note there. 3.2A. Like we talked about earlier, I hope that the buyers that you take out already have a pre-approval letter, okay? You should always be initialing, or you're gonna put the place in dot loop for their initials to go in the first section where it says you're gonna send the pre-approval letter with your offer. Okay? Loan application. Loan application, pretty standard is 3 days. That just means once you're in contract, the lender that they have chosen has 3 days to reach out to the buyer and obtain all other documents they need to complete a full, complete loan application. Okay, remember something on any purchase contract. Time is of the essence. You remember that from Congress? If you don't meet a date, it's your job. If you don't meet a date, whether it's the attorney or getting the pre-approval letter to them or whatever it is you need to do, you just put your client out of contract. They could lose that house that you helped pay for and earnest money, and it's your fault. It's your job. It's your dates. Know what they are. The next one down here, A. I feel like I have to speed talk. A. What type of financing is it? You just simply type it in. Is it conventional, FHA, VA, USDA? We're gonna move down through. Like I said, read through this contract. You need to know it inside and out. 3.2C, this is just your lender is required to provide complete loan commitment stating they've done everything they need to do for your borrower, and they have to send you, and you need to let the listing agent have notification. The complete loan commitment is completed. Now you're good. 25 days is typical, okay? Appraisal contingency, we are skipping through appraisal contingency. We just talked about appraisal. You guys really need an entire class that are brand new to understand this purchase contract. Like I said, it's your job to explain every point in this purchase. If you need to get that.
No, it was.
Okay, okay. Taxes and assessments, this is all through title, that's their portion. Number 5, I'm on page 4, guys. Fixtures and equipment, just like Kathy said the other day at the house. If you take a house, turn it upside down, shake it, everything that it stays attached goes with the house. I always put in here, right here, and include the following. I am very specific. That's not a good word. I put it in there, whatever it is, dishwasher, gas range or electric range, refrigerator. If there are TV wall mounts, I put that on there. If they're leaving the washer and dryer, I put that on there. If there's a trampoline in the backyard, they're gonna leave. Security system, you see a lot of those now. Outdoor grills, this was an old one. Something I didn't put on here, and very bad, shame on me. Obviously I don't always do it because it's not on this one and I wrote this. I always put it in there, all curtains, curtain rods, blinds, and window treatments. And then I'll put as seen on and whatever date I showed that property and what time. There's no question. I want to make sure my client gets everything that they're due to them.
So the sellers, when they fill out their seller's property disclosure, and at the end of it, it doesn't tell the buyer what's going with the property.
Yours does there?
Yeah.
You mean like additional things?
No, like fixtures, and they
Well-
fill out what's going with the home or not.
Well, like in your listing contract?
No, in the purchase agreement, like in their seller's property disclosure.
Yeah.
They'll fill out what they're sending with it, and then we just sign it. I look over it and like, oh, okay, this is going, this is going.
Ours does not. Now, on our team, we have a lot of additional forms that we do, and we have a form that states what's included, not included.
Okay.
But here, the only thing, that would be great, actually. Right here, interior amenities, and this is just from the listing agreement,
Mhm.
where we would type into the MLS what
Oh.
stays.
Okay, gotcha.
But we don't have that document that you're referring to, which would be fantastic.
Okay.
Okay, so always pay attention to this right here. Okay, and you're gonna find in real estate, you're gonna love copy and pasting. It's the greatest tool in the world. Copy and paste everything.
Hey,
So
Mary,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
No.
to interrupt you. What was the exact statement you said about the curtain rod?
okay, so I can't believe I didn't put it on there. Yes. I always say like, curtains, curtain rods, blinds, and all window treatments as seen at showing on the date and the time.
Thank
okay.
you.
You just want to be as specific as you said it better that time, as you possibly can. If you ever run into, you go to show a house and there's a note on the kitchen counter that says, window and upstairs bedroom will be replaced before closing. Don't take that as gospel. Put it in the purchase contract right there, or additional terms and conditions. Per note, window will be replaced in bedroom 2. Because if it's not replaced, your client saw that note, who's buying them a window? You better, you're gonna buy them a window, right? You have to. Okay, following shall be excluded. 5.2 is a lot of times like, if you're, I always say like a lot in the country, if there's like excess cars or junk or whatever, if there's irrational amounts of stuff, write it in there. That's one of my sellers. But I have 2 properties I'm getting ready to list. And he is the hardest person in the world to get in touch with, and I just have to sit, I'll call you back. Okay, that's okay. So you went right in there. Tractor, 5 cars, whatever it is, okay? That's what you would write in there. 5.3 leased items. In the country, some water softeners, sometimes they're leased items. Whatever is leased, okay? Number
Who takes
6,
over the lease?
I'm sorry,
Who takes over it? Are they
the
paying
new,
it off?
the new buyer. Well, you're gonna have to find out. Check with the listing agent and find out. The new buyer, 9 times out of 10, would take that over. But that's gonna be a phone call with the listing agent and find out for sure. Okay? Inspections and tests. This is any and all, we're on page 5. Home inspection, like Kathy talked about the other day. Whatever number you select to put in home inspection, you can have any and all tests done during that time period. Okay, let's say we write a purchase contract today. We go into contract right now. Today's what, the 21st or something, Thursday. So the ticking time clock starts tomorrow. Okay, so if you said earnest money is due within 3 days, that earnest check has to be in here at our brokerage, and you send that listing agent proof within 3 days. If you don't, you do it the 4th day, you're out of contract. Okay, home inspection, you say, know who your home inspector is, right? How many days do they need to complete a home inspection, right? Ask your buyer, is it in the country? Are they gonna do a well inspection? Are they gonna do a septic inspection? What all are they gonna do? Think about how many days you need, okay? 5 to 10 days is typical. The home inspector I work with, they normally can do it the next day. You just build your relationship.
The
Okay.
smaller the number, usually it helps the contract get under.
Exactly.
Every day.
Exactly. I wouldn't write 10 in for anything. 8, we were in a great time period. You know, 8. I typically do 5. Okay, that's any and all tests. They have to be completed within that time period.
But this is a good example, because say it's Thursday, if you do a 3-day due diligence, is it Monday or is it Saturday?
No, it counts everything. Every day on that calendar. Unless you write in the purchase contract, and you could put that there, under that, I would see how many offers there were before I wrote that in there, but you could put 8 business days, and then your weekends are excluded. Know how many, when you're showing a house to a client and they love that house, your job as their realtor, when you're backing out of the driveway, is be on the phone with that listing agent. I'm gonna become that listing agent's best friend. I guarantee it. Hey, it's Mary with Keller Williams Greater Columbus. I just showed the property at 123 Main Street. My buyer absolutely loves that property. Do you currently have any offers in hand? Oh, you do? Okay. What is your seller looking for? Anything in particular? Your job is to represent that buyer. Find out as much as you can. If she just tells you if she's at a baseball game, remember that. When you call her back to check in, oh, how's that baseball game do? Right? What are you doing? You're building a relationship with that listing agent, right? You want her to know you're gonna be a great realtor. Okay? Okay, remedy period. If you're doing a home inspection and they want time to do any type of remedies, okay, select the days. If you're doing a home inspection for informational purposes only, remedy period will be 0. Okay? Does everybody understand what that means? Yeah, no, you good? If you do a home inspection, 7 days, say, and we find out the roof, we need another, the roof's bad, we need an estimate. That still needs to be done during our home inspection period, right? If, when you get the home inspection, it is your responsibility to review that complete home inspection and to go over it with your potential buyer. Find out what's important to them. You look at it, you know what you see is important and educate them. If you've done the request to remedy, that's when you'll write a form, it's in here, request a remedy. And let's say we would ask, there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can ask for, you can change the purchase price from $220 down to $210. That way the sellers don't have to do any repairs. Or you can ask the sellers to, due to the home inspection, the roof to be replaced. They could accept it, or they could counter you back. Request a remedy is just that. The buyer's agent and the seller's agent coming together, trying to figure out what needs to be rectified in order for the deal to move forward. Make sense? Okay. Thank you. Okay, how fast can we go? Okay, so page 6, that just explain, okay, let's say you do the home inspection and there are things that you just didn't see with the naked eye, right? That is your buyer's right to terminate, okay? You write a termination, that form is back in here later. You do a termination and you do a mutual release. It's your responsibility to do both. If you do a home inspection for 5 days and you don't do the termination and the mutual release before that 5th day is up, or how many ever days you put for the home inspection, if you don't know the listing, don't let the listing agent know your buyer's terminating, you just kept that buyer in contract. Does that make sense? Yeah, so make sure, don't miss days, don't miss days. Make sure in your buyer's meeting 2 reasons a person should or can terminate a contract, okay? It's truly something is wrong in the home inspection that you cannot rectify, or that it's just infested and the beams below are destroyed by termites, or there are bats all over the attic and your buyers don't want that. It cannot be. It cannot be. Make sure your buyer understands this in your meeting. It cannot be during the home inspection period, they decided they don't like the paint color anymore, or a new house came down the street, they like that more. That's not a valuable reason. They're gonna lose their earnest deposit if they do for a reason that's not appropriate. Make sense? Okay. Home warranty. You're gonna see on the listing whether or not the home, it's listed right over here. Typically, it says warranty if the home comes with a home warranty. If it doesn't come with a home warranty in our market, I probably wouldn't write in asking the seller to pay for your buyer's home warranty. It's gonna cost them like $360 to $400. A home warranty covers any and all mechanicals for a year, okay? That flyer's there.
You wrote that into the purchase?
You can. I did on this one.
Oh.
And you know what? I'm really good about becoming great. I'm really good at becoming friends with the listing agent. I'm gonna find out as much as I can. And a great listing agent is gonna give you lots of tips because their job is to make their seller the most amount of money they can, right? And don't be afraid to say, oh, you do have lots of offers? Okay, if I'm to throw out a number, can you tell me if we're within means? A good listing agent is gonna tell you. Don't be afraid to ask. All they can do is say no, right? Okay, we're hitting high. 20 minutes do we have? Oh, we have 3. We have 3. All right, we are skipping to, okay, earnest money deposit. I'm on page 8. The rest of this, read through it, ask your mentor. Earnest money deposit is just how much money. This was impossible to teach in 2 hours.
I know,
by the
you
way.
usually get 3, I'm sorry, I'm
It's okay.
sorry.
It's okay.
We're gonna do it
Earnest-
again in next month.
Earnest money deposit is just their good faith deposit, how much they're gonna pay, okay? The higher earnest deposit money they pay, the better it makes your client look, okay? I always write my earnest deposit, as soon as we go in contract, it's gonna be in our brokerage within 3 days. If you do it after the home inspection, what's it make your offer look like? How serious is your buyer? Not very serious, they're wishy-washy, don't be that person. 12.2, that's just when they bring in the check to the brokerage and this gets filled out. Okay, the rest of this is just gonna explain, and like I said, guys, it is your responsibility to completely explain all of this to your buyer before you ask them to sign. It gives you all these different 13s make perfect sense. 13.2, the time is of the essence. We talked about that a bunch. Ohio Fair Housing, everybody is to be represented equally. Don't judge. RPD, you know what that is? In your buyer's meeting, it is your buyer's responsibility. Make sure they know this up front. It's their responsibility to, you're not going to steer them. You're not going to guide them away from or to a certain house. It's their responsibility. Check the schools, right? You might think a great school is because they have great sports. I might think it's because they have a great bank, right? It's your buyer's responsibility. Look at the schools, check the crime in the area, and check the sex offenders in the area. You're going to find crime and sex offenders in every town, every area. I don't care what people say. Make sure they know the levels, okay? When someone asks you, is this a nice area? You can't, you've educated in your buyer's meeting, right? That's their decision. You may love the gray, I may not love the gray, right? Differences of opinions. Does that make sense? Okay. You guys see how important your buyer's meeting is? You've taught them a lot in an hour, right? We're on page 12. Whatever you put in here, when you're going to close, you're going to know with their lender how quickly can they close. Typical 30 days. Some lenders can do it sooner. Don't put in an unobtainable date. Know when their lender can get this loan closed, okay? Because if you don't meet this date, then you're asking for an extension, okay? Final verification of condition. That's when you are going to go with your buyer and you're going to re-walk through the home. You're going to make sure that home is in the same condition or better condition than when your buyers decided to put a contract on it. I put 3 days in here. I typically go for my final walkthrough the day of closing, right before, okay? I take them and I walk them through the home. We make sure everything's good, and then we go right to the title company and close. Hi. We're finished. This was impossible to teach in 2 hours, just so you know.
Let's have one more, you know, so.
I know, it's okay. Let's see.
It will be this way in the future.
Possession, that just means what day are they gonna take possession of the home? It's gonna say on the MLS, some it's gonna say, maybe some it's 2 weeks. It's at closing, whatever it is, you have to write it in there. And then, very important, you don't need that. I can just say, yeah, go for it, that's all. Duration of offer, how long are you keeping your offer open until, right? Typically 24 hours, okay? Your offer is voided if you don't get a response back from this agent May 29th by 5 p.m. It's voided. So you just write in this. This last page is very, very important. Please be a great realtor. Always fill out everything. If you're representing the buyer, fill everything out, right? If the listing agent didn't fill out everything, when I say everything, let me be more specific. You don't have to fill in the attorney, right? But from where it says brokerage down, fill out every space, okay? How you can find the listing agent's information if they didn't put it in there to auto-populate. Go into the MLS and instead of where you search for an address, put the listing agent's name in there. It brings up everything for them. Okay? Don't leave this page blank from here, from brokerage down. If you do, it makes you look like a what type of realtor. You're incompetent. You're already not doing your job.
Those of you on Zoom, we're gonna be closing the Zoom and pulling up the office.
Hey, guys,
meeting Zoom.
sorry, that was very quick. I hope
I'm
you guys
sorry.
were- You're very welcome. Sweet.